I'm Tracy Baxter with today's Record News Watch. It's been a popular shopping destination for years for locals as well as visitors. Now comes word of plans on the drawing board that it would make the Woodbury Common Premium Outlet Mall even larger. The mall's owner, Chelsea Property Group, is proposing a major overhaul, including a series of improvements and upgrades that would include construction of a parking garage, a new food court, 60,000 square feet of additional retail space, as well as the replacement of store facades and traffic realignment improvements. Traffic congestion in and out of Woodbury Common has been a constant source of irritation for mall neighbors, local motorists, and the Woodbury Police Department. Reporter Chris McKenna will have more details on the proposed three-year project and its status in tomorrow's Times-Herald Record. A Newberg man was seriously hurt in a two-vehicle collision in the town of Newberg. It happened at 3:15 yesterday afternoon at the intersection of Route 17K and Auto Park Place. Newberg Town Police say a Jeep Cherokee driven by 72-year-old Harold Kahn of Newberg turned into the path of a car driven by 28-year-old Justin Rosado of Newberg. Kahn was treated for minor injuries at St. Luke's Cornwall Hospital, but it took emergency responders more than an hour to extricate Rosado from the wreckage. He was airlifted to Westchester Medical Center, where he was listed in critical condition. Newberg Town Police are continuing their investigation. There was a report that an animal control officer from the city of Newberg was called to the scene because there was live poultry inside a box in one of the damaged vehicles. The numbers are now down in the hundreds, not thousands. The number of people in Orange and Ulster counties still without electricity. And for those who remain in the dark, the Orange Lake Fire Company parking lot in the town of Newberg was one of the places where Central Hudson was providing dry ice and bottled water. Spokesman for Orange and Rockland Utilities said their utility company is projecting that 90% of the customers in its service territory still without power will have service restored by midnight tonight. And our employees are continuing to distribute dry ice. It'll be available from 6 to 8 tonight in the CVS parking lot on Windermere Avenue in Greenwood Lake, an area where power problems persist. O&R says they've used a total of 570 work crews in the field in the wake of Saturday's storm. That's the largest workforce ever provided by Orange and Rockland. The former president of the Humane Society of Middletown was sentenced to 3 years probation today for falsifying paperwork involving a donation made to the shelter. 67-year-old Joanne Newman of the town of Wallkill was also ordered to pay $10,000 in restitution to the Community Services Agency that had made the donation, plus $3,000 to the Humane Society for expenses incurred in pursuing the case. Newman had originally been charged with grand larceny. She later pleaded guilty to falsifying records. Newman did not admit to a theft and denied stealing any money. A woman who was badly burned in a propane gas explosion last month in Ulster County has died of her injuries. 73-year-old Elizabeth Friedel suffered burns over 99% of her body when a propane tank exploded in her mobile home at Brinks Trailer Park off Leggs Mills Road in the town of Ulster back on October 8th. Her husband John suffered burns over 40% of his body and survived the ordeal. Investigators believe the explosion was triggered by a gas leak somewhere between the tank and the stove. Sullivan County Sheriff's deputies got a tip that a man was trying to sell stolen guns. They then paid a visit to the Canosa Lake home of 28-year-old Adam Monis. Inside, they found rifles and guns that had been reported stolen last week from a nearby house. Deputies say not all of the 14 guns they seized belonged to the victim. They are checking to find the owners of the rest of the weapons. Monis was charged with felony burglary as well as criminal possession of stolen property and grand larceny. He had been on felony probation for a theft at the Villa Roma in Callicoon. The number of people in need in our area continues to grow, and those who are trying to meet that need in the Middletown area are hoping people step up and donate to their coat drive. The Middletown Cares Coalition has helped to organize the collection effort involving several local agencies. New and dry cleaned coats, especially for children, are being sought, as well as winter hats, scarves, and gloves. The director of St. Paul's Mission in Middletown says what's especially heartwarming is that many of the coats donated so far have come from people who were on the receiving end in years past.
Well, I get inspired when people are not only thinking about themselves but also thinking about others. And some of the families I've already spoken to have said that they would like to give back the coat that they had last year that doesn't fit their child any longer so that some other child could use it. And so I think that's really inspiring. They're not just thinking of themselves, the people that need coats, they're also sharing whatever they have with others.
Absolutely. There's a number of people who have been downsized, who have lost employment. There are single-parent households that are being led by mostly women for the most part, and they too need a hand up and they need some assistance.
Coats will be accepted until Thursday, November 10th. And here are the drop-off locations in Middletown. St. Paul's Mission and Interfaith Food Pantry on West Main Street, the YMCA on Highland Avenue, and Fort Knox Self-Storage on Canal Street. Coalition will follow up the coat drive with a food drive beginning early next month. Sunshine and cool temperatures will dominate our weather over the next couple of days. Tomorrow will be sunny after some early morning cloudiness. Temperatures Friday will reach into the upper 50s. More sun in the forecast for Saturday with the highs getting up around 60 degrees. Record Online is the place to find news anytime it breaks, and stay on top of all that is happening by picking up tomorrow's edition of the Times-Herald Record. For Record News Watch, I'm Tracy Baxter.